Hello, Space-Time Badass here. So, you're in a lucid dream. Congratulations! But, what's next? Many a time I have been in a lucid dream and been so excited to be in a lucid dream that I had completely lost the dream, which can be very sad. So for this reason, the first thing you should do is to set the goal of something simple but challenging that you can accomplish but pushes your limits. Set a goal before you go to sleep. Know your goal. Keep it simple, keep it one thing. That way it is easier to focus on and achieve. For instance, flying, making an object appear or disappear, morphing an object, changing your surroundings. These are all very good goals. I, for one reason or another, absolutely cannot fly. No matter how lucid I am, my brain just says, not possible, doesn't compute, sorry. And that's just with flying. I can change my surroundings, I can make people appear and disappear, morph objects, easy stuff, just can't fly. And I'm sure I'll beat that block eventually because I want to fly. I really want to fly. But that's number one, set a simple goal for yourself. Second thing is to anchor yourself in the dream. Anchoring is where you just make that dream more real for yourself, basically. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you and this dream aren't separated. Make sure you're not going anywhere. Make sure you don't lose the dream and just let it take its course and not be lucid anymore. Methods of anchoring that I have used are grabbing a nearby object. This works the best for me, and that really makes me just be more in the dream. The second thing that I've tried is rubbing your hands together like this, but it's good for any physical stimulus, anything that gets you and your dream body in more union, basically. Physical stimulus to bring you more present there, to make you a little more conscious. Another one that I do is picking an object and examining it very closely. I mean really close, because sometimes in lucid dreams my body is here, but I'm really back here. So it's a little hazier, a little bit of a tunnel going on, but I'm still there. So when I'm like this, I will pick an object, I will look very closely, and if I'm lucky, I will be here rather than back here. Another one that I've heard is spinning around in a circle. I haven't tried that one just because the other methods have worked so well for me. So if you try it, let me know in a comment. The next thing is familiarity. You want your goal to be familiar. So, for instance, a place that I call myself back to very frequently in my dreams is my living room in my house, because my brain knows what that looks like. I can just say my living room and I'm there. I don't have to think about what it looks like. And this goes the same for morphing objects. So I want this chair to be something else. You don't want to be like, I want this chair to become a dragon, because, I mean, when have you ever really seen a dragon? How many dragons do you have around in your skull that can just kind of appear? Probably not very many. So you'll want it to be something familiar. So I want this chair to turn into, you know, my shoes, turn into my girlfriend, turn into my cat, whatever. So something familiar, something that your brain already has a lot of to go off of, because if you're just conjuring up something that you haven't even seen in waking life, it's going to be that much harder, and it's going to put you back rather than a step forward. So familiarity is key. Next is something I like to call eyes, hand, door. Basically, when you're morphing or disappearing or dissolving your surroundings or flying or whatever, not that I would know about flying, but if you're morphing an object, which is something that I love to do, you'll want to not watch it happen, because how many times have you seen an object turn into another object sober? Me? Never. Never. So I will close my eyes and think it to happen and open them, or I will cover it with my hand so that I can't see it with my dream eyes. I will state what I want that object to become, and I will remove my hand and it will be that. You simply will it to happen while you aren't looking. The door is for if there's a door, you say behind this door will be this, and you open it, and there it is. The easiest to hardest method, I think, for morphing or making things appear, changing the dream, the easiest to hardest is hand, eyes, door. Hand is very easy. You're still taking in data from the dream, so you don't lose it. You can just will it to become something and remove your hand, and it's there. And this has happened many times for me. Recently there was a skull hanging from a rope, a human skull hanging from a rope in the ceiling, from my ceiling in a dream, and I was like, I don't like this, so I just put my hand over it and I said, flower, remove my hand. It was a beautiful big purple flower hanging there. So it can be as simple as that. So hand, easiest. Eyes, easier than door, but harder than hand, because when you close your dream eyes, I see hypnagogic imagery. So close your eyes, you start seeing these other things. It's easy to get carried away and go to a different dream, or just not be lucid anymore. So with that, it takes a little more practice, but it's very cool to get acquainted with your dream eyes, that you can blink them, and it's cool. You can have your eyes closed in a dream. It's just very interesting to me because your eyes are already closed. But door is a little more tricky for me, because the way my mind works is very linear. You know, what's behind a door is what has always been behind a door. Not in your dream. This door, it's just your subconscious. So what even could be behind that door isn't behind that door necessarily. So you'll have this door and you'll say, behind this door is this, and you'll open it and you'll look. The reason I think this is most complicated is because behind a door could be a million things, you know, and coming up with this data for the room or for a completely different landscape, you know, you'll want to keep it simple for sure, because it could be so many different things, you know. For me, at least, I go with hand first, eyes second if I'm feeling saucy, and a door if I happen to see a door. So yes, push your limits, but be reasonable. Go off of anchoring techniques that are good for physical stimulus. And another thing that I've learned is that remember the point in which you become lucid in a dream. This is the point at which, for one reason or another, you realize that you are dreaming. Something wasn't right. So your brain said, hey, this is a dream, and then you became conscious in it. So remember that, especially if it has a physical stimulus. Recently I was dreaming that I was on a boat, and I felt the waves, and I realized I was dreaming for some reason. Maybe because I was naked on the deck. So I'm floating on this boat, and I feel the waves, and from that I say, I'm going to be in my living room. And then I just tore from that reality. I went through the boat, actually, and I was in my living room, and then I anchored immediately, grabbing onto an object, and then proceeded from there. So physical stimulus in dreams, for me, I believe is very important, because it's getting you acquainted with your dream self, telling yourself that in fact there is a physical vehicle within this dream of yourself. There is a representation. You're not just eyes. You're not just the hands you see. There is a complete form to you in this dream. So definitely.
Okay, so I lost my train of thought because my camera has died, and I've tried to record this part a couple of times, and it's just been a lot of trouble for me and the camera. So I'm going to try to get this out quickly. I believe what I was saying is that you should please do use physical stimulus, because it's very important in a dream. It affirms that you are a physical vessel in this dream, you are in a dream, and you have control over it. For instance, with a boat dream that I had, I felt the waves. That's physical stimulus. I felt those waves, and at some point I became lucid because of this. And you should remember the feeling physically, and you should remember the point at which you become lucid, because there's a technique that I've been using, which is, I've been calling it the boat method, because I was on a boat in this dream and feeling those waves. I can call myself back to that because I know what waves feel like. So, for instance, I know what this feels like. You know what this feels like. Your brain's felt this so many times, it's ridiculous. So your brain knows what that feels like. I can feel those things that I just did to my arm. I can feel that even when I'm not doing it consciously by thinking about it. When you're in a dream, you are in a manifestation of your subconscious. So you merely need to think things for them to occur, because thinking things and creating things in your dream and your subconscious are one and the same. So physical stimulus is very important, familiarity is very important, and remembering the point at which you become lucid is quite important, because when you became lucid at some point, you realized, hey, something is amiss here, something isn't quite right, I'm dreaming, I'm conscious now. So remember that point. Remember the feelings, because you can call yourself back to that. Say you start losing the dream, you become less conscious, less lucid. Things start coming out of your control, you start losing focus, you feel your real hand move, something like that. Merely center yourself by feeling that both, feeling that physical stimulus, and remembering, calling yourself back to that point in which you became lucid, so that your mind will go, hey, it's a dream, because you realized that last time. So familiarity is good, especially with physical stimulus, especially with the point at which you became lucid. So if you start losing a dream, call yourself back to that. And this is a method that has worked well for me in waking up from sleep, going back to sleep, and feeling those waves, getting in that mindset, and zapping back to a lucid dream. This worked from waking up from a dream, waking up in general, waking up from a lucid dream and going back to sleep. I've been successful with this going to bed and waiting until I start getting hypnagogic with imagery, going a little bit like right at the cusp when you're about to fall asleep, and then starting to feel those waves, starting to feel that physical stimulus, starting to put yourself in that familiar spot, starting to think about that point at which you became lucid in another dream, and then that has snapped me into another lucid dream. I hope that works for you. So again, to review, set a goal for yourself, challenging but achievable for you. Anchor yourself in that dream, grab onto something, examine something closely, rub your hands together, any physical stimulus. Remember, eyes, hand, and door. And push your limits. Push your limits, but be reasonable. Thank you for watching and bearing with me, and me bearing with myself. Thank you, me, because it's been so hard to get this out. My camera's died so many times. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Spacetime Badass. Stay tuned.